How can we bring to life the worlds that we envision in our mind's eye? How can we harness and put into words the potential of our dreams? Well, we're going to give it a go. Welcome to Series 3 of Dream Space from Factory International with me, Gemma Cairney. I'm a broadcaster, a creative, an art lover, all sorts of things. And I've always been interested in how the places that we visit in our dreams can shape our everyday lives. Dreaming offers us inspiration and possibility. It affords us agency and vision to achieve things that we might never have thought possible. In this podcast, we invite some of the most exciting creative thinkers to take us into the worlds that they inhabit in their dreams. How special. I feel like this is a real honour. In this episode, we're going to hear from an athlete who spent much of her childhood dreaming of one day playing for the club that she so adored. She's not only gone on to play for that club, but has also become one of her sport's most treasured professionals.
I wasn't just signing that contract as a football player that can perform at the highest level. I was also signing that contract as Lotte. Lotte, the childhood gooner. Lotte, the mind that wants to be able to communicate with the fans, communicate with the world in a way that's true to myself.
Lotte Wubben-Moy is a football player who was born in Bow in the East End of London in 1999. She is part of the Arsenal team who in May 2025 won the Champions League as well as a member of England's All-Star Euros winning Lioness squad. She is also the founder of the community programme Lots to Explore and is a supporter of grassroots organisation Hackney Laces and equal rights movement Common Goal. Join me as I delve into Lotte Wubben-Moy's dream space. It's nice to be here. This is exciting. Hello, Lotte. How are you?
Hey, Gemma. It is exciting. Finally, I get to live beyond the 90 minutes of football that we're so very much restricted to.
Now, this is something that is really compelling me. The mind and dreams of someone whose discipline presents as very different to the mind of a practicing artist, but I'm intrigued to know whether that statement is true. How do we firstly access your dreams? Are you there regularly?
I am there regularly, and I say that with a bit of a smile on my face because I'm not someone that necessarily wears my heart on my sleeve. I keep myself to myself, and there are so many moments of my life that are caught behind a camera or in a stadium full of 90,000 people, and a lot of the side that people see to me is only a very small part of my thoughts, my dreams, so that makes a day like today even more exciting to be able to share it with you and anyone listening.
What a privilege. How nice. I'm really intrigued as to what it is that stops that want for communication of your dreams. Is it because you feel like you have a private life to protect as somebody who is so visibly in the public eye? Or is it just because there aren't necessarily avenues for you to be in the dream space?
We're so defined by our titles in football and sport. It's almost as if we have to adhere to that and follow that in sort of every facet of our life. I've come from a creative background. My mum worked in fashion, my dad in furniture design. I'm often asked, where'd you get it from? Like, where's your right foot from? Where's your left foot from? You're so good in the air. Like, how do you get that from your parents, your family, your upbringing? And actually, I didn't have that as a kid. My parents allowed me to just wander off to the local estate. We would play football for hours in the lights. And it was actually coming away from the idea that I'm gutted I didn't have a father that played football with me every day or that passed on these skills to me, and realising that my creative background is what has allowed me to be the person that I am today, the player that I am today, and break away from those defining factors of just being that sports person. I think as athletes, we're just expected to be who we are as a football player within that 90 minutes. And I find it really quite restrictive, if I'm honest, the questions that we get asked on a daily basis of like, where do you get it from? What food are you eating today? Like, what's your nutrition? What's your gym program? I'm bored of those questions. And I'm bored of having to continually just be what people expect me to be. And I think more and more so in women's football in particular, we're able to express ourselves so much more, communicate with the world, with our fans in a way that is unique and in a way that is true to ourselves. And even like being on here today with you, Gemma, like it's a really cool opportunity. It's a really cool chance to let my mind run free. And in so many ways, I think the questions that you're asked are probing, and I'm often not asked those questions in the sport world. So yeah, hit me. I want you to knock me out with
Let's go.
Let's exactly
go.
And there's my sports side coming out as well. Like, I just want to give. I've got the energy. Like you say, I'm disciplined, but I'm disciplined in a different way.
There's something about the mental ability to take oneself to one's edge. And I think that's part of dreaming too. Dreaming isn't always really smooth and gentle. It's sometimes really expansive and courageous to open up one's mind and heart, and in some cases body or soul, like in such a way. Do you think that drive and that sense of competition really does help you have that momentum to flip the lid wide open as to what life can be?
I think so. I think you've got to be brave, and I think you've got to be able to push yourself in ways that you can never really expect. As an athlete, you're able to push yourself physically, and there are so many tests that we have to do pretty much on a daily basis, and those tests are often within yourself. You push yourself to the limits, but also they're asked of you by the coaches, they're asked of you by the staff around, the performance staff. In the gym every day, we go in and we have to do testing for our groins, testing for our hamstrings to see what level you're at in that moment. Are you feeling strong? Are you feeling fit and healthy? But actually, why aren't these tests, or rather not tests, but moments to push yourself, also applied to your mind? And as you say, being able to open yourself up as a dreamer, as someone that can probe in different ways, I think it does take bravery. And I'm someone that likes to think that I try to empower other people in that sense too. And I think continuing to come back to the defining factors or the defining descriptions of an athlete, like, we constantly want to see more and push more, and I'm open for that to be with my mind.
That's amazing. There's so much creativity in so many aspects of our lives. I am wondering whether that's something to do with being a woman. And do you think gender, and I don't really adhere to the binary of gender, but do you think that not being a man, even though football is kind of historically deemed as a man's sport, which obviously is ridiculous, but not being that is already subversive in its own right? It already opens you up. It already invites you to do things differently.
Definitely. I'm surrounded by 25 women plus on the daily, and these individuals from all across the world, basically, all with different upbringings, different interactions with society, and they all join a team and they come in with experiences, they come in with a different openness to experience. And I think there's an individual that is not a man, but then there are also a group of individuals that aren't men. And when they come together, when they are able to have this common denominator, the potential, the unison, the encouragement to, like, in this world, be open, is inspiring, and it's special. And it has so much potential, so much opportunity with it, with lots to explore. I work with 15, 16-year-old girls, and their openness is amazing. Their ability to think in a different way and come together and find a safe space within a world that is so complex and so challenging for young women is amazing. Being around the younger generations and seeing how, with their minds, they're able to wander, they're able to probe and find community is amazing.
And would you say that your everyday in that case is non-hierarchical in some ways? That sense of collective is really potent.
It is really potent, and I think as a whole we try to break that down. We still live in a world where we often have to take instruction from others, and I think that's maybe one of the biggest differences between the football world, the sports world, to the arts, where actually you're able to let your mind wander free without having a schedule, without having to do something for someone else, because often it is for yourself. So hierarchy is an interesting one. It's tough to comment on something when you're so deep in it, and often your eyes can be clouded by it too. It's definitely still there, but as much as possible within the team, within the players that I'm around, we try to break that down.
I would like to know whether that is infused into your dream space in any way.
If I'm thinking visually, what does it look like? The hierarchy wouldn't be a person, or there wouldn't be necessarily a leader that is one singular individual. I think the leader would be the notion of empowerment, and it would be the notion of there being a need for every single individual. I've been in teams that have won trophies. I've won a Champions League, I've won a Euros. And I think the true tell of success in those moments weren't the individual that lifted up that trophy. It's all the people behind, and it's the staff as well. And my dream space, it wouldn't be limited to football, so there wouldn't be a captain. There would be a leader, and that leader would be the feeling of empowerment and the acts of empowerment. And I think from there can be no greater leader, because you're then giving power to every single individual.
Have you felt those moments of embedded empowerment in your life, and how did it feel?
I have. I think in a lot of ways, you're given opportunities in football, and you kind of have to take them if you want to be successful. And there are so many pressures, there is so much, I think, intensity around sport that you have to feel empowered in order to be able to take that moment and to feel confident with that.
It's so generous of you to have actually felt that in your life, when we are in a world where it's so easy to not feel it, and to want to offer it to others in your dream space, and for it to be a feeling and a sentiment that drives us forward, and that is really the main atmosphere to a space that's for everybody. Because I think that it's so easy just to feel like it's going to go and come from lack and scarcity and hold on to it yourself and not want to share it with anybody. And just to open it up in this dream and say, we can all empower one another, and it can only just feel better, bigger, greater. It is our leading force. It's exciting. It feels fair.
And you know what, Gemma? In football, in this world, we're told not to be content in moments. And I feel content. I feel happy that I'm able to experience this moment with everyone. And I say everyone because the moments in football, or being part of a club, is so much bigger than yourself and is an opportunity to share. And I just feel it's really kind of you to say that. It feels that it's generous, but I genuinely think there is no other option for me. I just feel like I have to give and I have to share in order to have something, because otherwise I have nothing. I genuinely think I would have nothing without the people.
I know that also as a visionary, not only are you spending time, which is money, particularly in your world, with people that are more disadvantaged than you and trying to raise them up and their voices and their skills, but you are weaving into your actual career and finances and how they're distributed a sense of importance when it comes to craft and even just looking at the economy of women's football. Is that part of your dream space? And when you have time to really journal all of this out, like how important is the distribution of wealth?
I think it's extremely important. And I think to preface, I guess, my answer, I would say, like, I'm privileged. I'm a white woman. I've come from a middle class background. And I think a lot of my decisions with money are because I kind of have enough. And I'm lucky to say that I'm also part of a generation in women's football where we are provided enough money to be able to work as footballers and that be it. But I think looking at the wider world of women's football in general, there is a very small crop of teams and players that are earning a lot, but then there are also players that aren't earning so much. And the conversation that we're having at the moment in women's football is, how can we enable growth for everyone across the whole pyramid, both grassroots football, but also the teams that are at the bottom of the league? Because in order for us to grow as a league or as women's footballers and women's football in this country, we have to make sure that there isn't so big of a disparity as there is right now. So that's one challenge that I'm definitely aware of. But if I think then also to the economy as a whole right now and where society is guiding us towards, it worries me, because I think if we look at the arts, within the arts world, within even the schooling system, those creative subjects are being cut because somewhere down the line they think, oh, if we have good mathematicians at school, if we have individuals that can get A stars in science, in English, we're going to be in a good place in the world, the future generations. But actually, in order to have a good future for young people, I think we have to build their self-esteem, we have to build their mental well-being, their physical well-being. We also need minds that are healthy, that can move, that have the ability to communicate, that have the ability to be free. And I think that's why I work so closely within the community with young people, because I see the importance of that. And part of my salary, 1% of it through Common Goal, goes to organisations that help that do the work on the ground, that I know that me as an individual working with, we've already had almost 100 girls come through the Lots to Explore programme, can't do. It has to be on a bigger scale, and it has to be across the schooling system.
In your dream space, how expansive can that be? Like, how far could it go with this visionary progress? Like, how much could we share wealth, creativity, and an embodied sense of freedom?
Oh, I'd like to think endless. I think it can go, beyond my wildest dreams, beyond your wildest dreams. And I'm still wanting this dream to actually be reality, by the way. So I'm going to use, I think, one of my experiences of growth in that sense as an example for that. And I think women's football is somewhat the embodiment of that. We don't really know how far it can go and the reach that it can have. One thing I do know is we need to have support. We need to have people along for the journey that are pushing it in the right direction. And I mean, having women, having individuals in the leadership positions, being able to have an impact beyond the traditional sense of the word, because I know the success that we have isn't just something that happens over a day. And if I then look towards the dreams of community, of having empowerment, of having a distribution of enjoyment, of well-being and those future generations, I think the key here, and in my eyes, the growth will happen across a long period of time. And I think with that, there is so much potential, and it allows for us all to enjoy the moment and continue to push it, really.
I love it. I'm here for it. You mentioned enjoyment. And I like the fact that because of your work, it is such a feeling within your body. And I don't think that we always think about the world like that. We forget that it's physical. Our feelings are so entwined with the physical life, like how our body is. In your dream space, how do we feel inside of our bodies?
I think the two are so closely connected, like you say. I think when I've felt at my best physically, I've also felt somewhat at my best mentally, and being confident allows us as athletes, I think, to perform. And I think confidence is something that we all try to grasp in many parts of our life. I think enjoyment, unfortunately, is often very closely related to success in football. And I think in order for them to change that sort of narrative, we have to change our definition of success. It doesn't necessarily just mean, oh, you have to win, but actually the process of getting towards that win is extremely important. And I've already mentioned my 25 wonderful teammates that I have, but honestly, stepping out onto the training pitch with them every day, enjoying those moments with them is what is a success to me. And I think enjoyment as a whole, being content, doing things with a smile on your face. You're smiling right now, Gemma, and that's like filling me with joy in itself. These sort of feelings allow you then to be free and to perform to the highest of your ability. And ultimately, that's what we try to do every time we step out onto the pitch, reach new heights and fulfill our potential as athletes. And knowing that we're small cogs in this humongous wheel, but actually not undermining that and not taking for granted the impact that we can have as individuals on other individuals, and that be what spreads actually, because I think a smile can go a long way. And that's what I think a dream space to me looks like. It looks like a collection of people smiling and enjoying moments, enjoying experiences, and enjoying the idea that there is more.
There's a sense of social justice to the way that you speak, because it's a really lively energy of enjoyment. You know, you have to actually do an action to get to this place. It's not just felt by sitting still. Like, there's no apathy here. It's by coming together, showing up, being led by empowerment, which for me has connotations of being active in this world. And also there's a sense of pleasure, which I really like too, like having fun whilst making the world a better place energetically. You are making the world better by living by example, having senses of self-care and practice that make you feel good and just expressing that freely. I was wondering what you thought about, particularly in this dream space of social justice, activism and equity for all. How much fun and pleasure do we have?
We've got to have fun. We've got to have fun. And you know what? I've never really thought about how active my life is, because I think I see it as a job. But actually, when you strip that back and I look at myself and the enjoyment I have, I think a lot of it is within movement, and it is through movement. I think to myself of like a Mexican wave. Often in the stadium when we're playing, or when you're on the bench, you see the Mexican wave start and you're like, oh no, are they a bit bored? Are the fans a bit bored? Like, they're not maybe enjoying the game. But actually, it's that within itself is a visual representation, I think, of the power of people in that moment, and of enjoyment, and of the freedom within that. Because you all get into a stadium, you all have these thoughts, expectations for a game, and actually, like, beyond the 90 minutes, why can't you have fun with the people that you're around or sat next to? I think that's what movement allows you to do. I think movement allows you to free your mind and enjoy the moments that we get to move and get to be with other people.
So we're here, we're Mexican waving, empowerment is lifting us up. I'm feeling free. I feel like freedom is a common denominator of this dream space of yours. I would like to know who else is there. Is there anyone specifically in this dream realm that we can just get there through magic that you would love to have around?
Well, that's a cool invitation, isn't it? To get to a dream space. My teammates are definitely there. My family in particular, my mum and dad, I've already mentioned them being a key part in my upbringing. I think also my partner, he's also in the sport world. He would definitely get an invitation. He's a cyclist, and I think also is someone that understands, or actually has encouraged me in particular to break free from the traditional definition of a sports person. And his movement in itself, being on a bike for 6 hours, 7 hours, allows your mind to be free in that sense. He always manages to come back with the wildest ideas. I think he'd get an invitation, but he'd also probably be like co-creator with me. Why not bring everyone on it for the ride? And I actually think I'd then want every single family member of my teammates there as well, because they've all been on that journey with those players as well. And we're part of a world that definitely takes a village. I think even all my staff members at Arsenal, they'd be there as well, and they're family members. So I think we've got probably almost half the world there anyway. So why not invite the whole world as well?
So bonded. I feel such a feeling of bonding, like everyone really enjoying each other's company and having such connection without having to labour the point. It's really infectious. What about other people in the public eye? Are there any other types of artists that you would like there from any kind of creative world?
I think I'd like Ian Wright there. He's been a big advocate for women's football, a big supporter, and I've already mentioned the idea, or the need actually, for supporters within our world to help empower, to help push on. He's someone that has pushed the world on in many ways, not just on the football pitch, but also off it. So he would definitely be there. You know what, like Olafur Eliasson, his piece at the Tate, he brought a massive sun into the Turbine Hall at the Tate Modern. That piece, without knowing it at the time, I think continues to radiate me on the daily, of people coming to enjoy, coming to a singular space and being there without pressure, I think, without the need to like completely engage with a piece of art or a piece of work, but also it being so natural, and it just felt like normal to be there. Actually, the experience and the sort of moment of being radiated by that light was and continues to be, I think, something that I like to return to. And so I think he'd be there as well.
Beautiful. I'm really intrigued as to moments and memories that you can recall that have a feeling that you may put into this dream space from when you were growing up with your parents having their own craft and practice. Did you ever see them make something or express themselves in a way that made you feel like you wanted to have as much creativity available to you?
I think, to me, creativity or creating is something that starts from nothing, right? Like, that before didn't exist, but having the equation of you and your expression, that in itself making something. The things my mum used to make, she would tailor dresses, she would tailor bags, she would tailor neckerchiefs, anything. Like, as a kid, the magic that was crazy. To see a bit of fabric, some zips, go from that to then create something that had use, that had value to someone, and actually all that space in between of the making, seeing how much my mum would labour over it, was inspiring. And I come back to the word process, because once it was finished, it would leave my mum's hands and it would be someone else's. But actually the process of going through those days, hours, sometimes weeks and months of my mum making, that in itself was the experience that we got to live together. And it's something that I think I take with me, without knowing it actually, maybe with me onto the football pitch, when I train, when I work, that it's within these hours of meticulously loving what you're doing, and actually the doing to then create something at the end is what the beauty is in, really. But that is creativity to me. And I think the same with my dad. He would work in the workshop with his co-workers, and we wouldn't see that so much until we saw the final product when he brought it home. Maybe sometimes we got a table or two. I've actually got a table at our house that is made by him and the people that work with him. So we saw more so the final piece in that sense. But I think both of them were examples of making, and making it in the raw sense, with your hands, with your love and with your enjoyment.
And I think in a time where digital tech-based lives are so common, remembering that we can use our hands and imaginations to make anything out of nothing is so soothing. And part of the recipe for empowerment in your dream space. If suddenly everyone remembers that they can do that themselves, it instantly lifts you. It makes you feel like anything is possible.
It's mad that it takes a reminder, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
That we need to be like, actually, you know what? We can do this. We can do it together. We can, let's go. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't actually cost anything necessarily either.
No, and I think that that's also something within my dream space that I'd like to harp on. Like, it is something that we can start, and once you start, that being the hardest part.
I love it. Is there any particular ritual or ceremony that we get down to do?
Eating grass. Eat the grass. I did that the first time I stepped foot on Emirates Stadium, the Arsenal ground, and it felt like I had this superpower in me once I'd eaten the grass. And yeah, why not? Eat the grass on Hackney Marshes, eat the grass on Mabley Green, wherever you are. Make it part of you.
Just get in the soil and know that that's what happens.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you so much. Wow. Lotte Wubben-Moy in the dream space. What a joy. So vibrant. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Wow. I just feel so relieved to know that a young woman like Lotte is in the world with such clarity, vision, not afraid to dream big. What a joy it was to delve into her bravery for thinking that the world can be a hell of a lot better. It felt so positive. I think that this one is to share. I think send it to all that you know, particularly the young people, football fans and artists alike. Let's use this as a jump-off point to genuinely unite. I'm Gemma Cairney. Thank you for listening. Join us again next time to explore another brilliant thinker's dream space. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe to the podcast and share it with whoever is in your chosen community, because your support really does make a difference. If you can't wait until the next episode, then you can head to Factory International's website to find more creative content on Factory Plus. And if this is your first taste of Dream Space and its universe, thank you so much for joining us. We'll look forward to seeing you back here next time, but why not treat yourself before that to some quality dreaming with one of our previous episodes. There's so many, and they're all like a big old trip. Dream Space was hosted by me, Gemma Cairney, and this episode was produced by Hugh Sheehan, with sound design by Solomon King and music by Andrew P.M. Hunt. The executive producer is Dan Jackson. It's a reduced listening production for Factory International, curated by Scott Simoniti and Alex Mannion-Jones. Until next time.